We back, baby. Reserve grade team taking down the premiers in the classic Power Wars. Warriors Anonymous. Let's go.
This is Warriors Anonymous.
And we're back. First of all, Whānau, we, just like our Warriors boys, we're down on troops. Big Jed, he's here with us. You can't see him. He's in our ear. But unfortunately, he overdosed on Magic Round. He's not feeling so well. Lost his voice, but he's still running the ship. So I'm his Tamaiti to his SJ tonight. Daniel Whatakuta here with the main man back from Japan. Who's a little bit of a treatment away, perhaps. People say we went to Japan for some horse placenta just to get over some niggly injuries. Isaac Sauce, how are you, brother?
Yeah, good. Obviously got the headgear from Japan just to prevent any HIAs on this in this podcast. But yeah, can you tell? I've missed the Warriors though. Missed the podcast. Missed you boys. Yeah, I was just having too much fun over there to turn up on the podcast.
Yeah, we weren't having much fun, unfortunately, from a results point of view. But hey, that's all changed. We're faith restored. Our other main man, the one and only, aka I was going to call him the Jean-Claude Van Damme fan club of one. Moneta Sauce. He is out. Not HIA tonight. He is out with COVID. Who would have thought? 2024. Still talking about COVID, but it's back. But he, whilst he's been on leave, I think he's watched the game about 19 times back. He's seen every play, so he is. He's wishing us a good one tonight because he wanted to be here. But he's super pumped, and you would have seen from all his messages and all his posting on the page. So, but before we kick into gear tonight, we have to apologise to the Warriors Anonymous Whānau for the fact we did miss last week. Now, some may say we were in mourning from the embarrassment against the Roosters. Yes, we were, but just due to conflicting scheduling issues, people being away as well, we just weren't able to get it done. So, so tonight, the two of us are back, Jed in our ear. We've got a slightly different little show for you. A little bit of a reminiscence to the big game we had last year when we came back from the dead versus the Sharks. We've put the Warriors versus the Panthers game this weekend in the Hall of Fame of games that Warriors fans will always remember where they were when we got the chocolates at Magic Round. So yeah, a little bit of a different approach tonight. But before we kind of kick into that, just wanted to probably summarise what we didn't catch up on the previous week with the Roosters game and talk about the lead into to the Panthers game. Saucy, thoughts post seeing that Roosters game? How did you feel, and what was going through your mind around how the fuck we're going to prepare for a Magic Round romp against the Panthers?
Okay, well, that Roosters game, just to give you a little bit of context, I was watching the Roosters game way up north in Japan somewhere with Masaki's family, getting on the piss, day drinking, and basically losing my rag. I wore my Warriors jersey as well to represent, and as soon as that game was over, I quickly took it off and had a little bit of a cry in the corner. Not the best game. It was painful that first, 10 minutes we got run over. But it's a nice little juxtaposition to the game that we just saw on the weekend and how good this club is and how we can turn the team around that quickly. You know, it's nice to be able to say that after a game like the Roosters one that we had, we can beat the reigning Prems. So, fuck them.
100%. Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, I felt pretty dejected, just so frustrated. Like, I didn't think the Roosters were that good, to be honest. You know, they were hot when they were hot, right? The bounce of the ball went their way as well, but we weren't great in that first 20 minutes. But anyway, we came out of that game with a stack load of injuries. Like, they were just mounting up. So we obviously lost Shawnee in that game as well. Pre the chicken wing, he tore or strained the pec as well. A little chicken wing just kind of helped to reinforce that. We were staring off coming into that week with no Tohu Harris, broken finger, and that was actually a late call as well. We also had, obviously, guys like Marata already out, Kate Wah out as well from the previous week. So really, really starting to go, where is everyone? Rocco wasn't named as well. And then obviously the big news prior to that game obviously was Roger not being available too. So really the Teamsday Tuesday was a bit of a throwback to the COVID years of the high numbers and the count on your hands how many first grade games about 6 or 7 of our players had. So yeah, what was your feeling coming into the actual game on the weekend about how we were set up and how that team looked?
I actually liked the way the team looked. I mean, I think early on in the pace this season, a lot of Facebook conjecture, people having their 2 cents worth about CNK going into 6 to give RTS a crack at fullback. Well, what happened? It just wasn't with RTS. It was with old Mighty Mouse himself, to a picky at the back. And Charnze, hadn't held up his end of the deal. I think we said it before. He's just a professional footballer. He's just an athlete. He's just a rugby league guru. But pre-game, I liked the way that team looked. I know they were a bit light on experience. That was always going to be the way with the number of injuries that we had. But I didn't go into the game confident, but I had a feeling that there might be an upset here, especially with the turmoil that the Pars had over the week coming into the game. We know how professional the Penrith Panthers are, but anything like that happening, with Taylor May, anything like that happening within a club does definitely cause some problems and creates a bit of turmoil. And I think the Warriors took advantage of it. I mean, they were already missing their big gun Nathan Cleary, and it was all on Luai's shoulders, and he ran around like a headless chook, but I still think he probably didn't play the game that he needed to beat us.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming into that, one thing that I had read and I was starting to think or feel was happening is Webby was talking about the team was down in confidence. He also mentioned that perhaps some of the standards that they'd set in the club and on game day weren't being necessarily adhered to or followed. And I got really intrigued by that, especially when you're staring down the barrel. You've had 4 on the trot. You haven't won a game in 5. You think, well, where's this team? Why is it falling off the cliff as well? So it was kind of mentioned through a couple of articles, and I think Jazz Tawanga had also highlighted that they'd done some soul searching. They'd basically seen some footage and analysed some of their play, and standards had slipped. They talked about kick chase as well, the fact that up through the middle they weren't getting up in their faces. Just lucky that sometimes the ball was landing on the player as well. But we just talked about those little bit of 1%ers, which kind of had me concerned a little bit, because rugby league's such a tight game, right? The NRL is so tight. It is literally turn up and put the effort in as well. And if you're not necessarily doing that, so I was a little concerned, but I was also confident that guys like Jazz Tawanga owning that stuff. He, for me, is a player that through the COVID years, no matter when he's in the team, he will give 120%. Yes, he can't challenge. There's no more challenges for Jazz. His challenges are banned because that was a shocker. But I was just a little concerned that maybe we're starting to smell our own shit a bit, right? Like, the hype. Isaac, you talked about the hype is big. Everyone's around. But was it starting to get to our head?
I kind of feel like it has a little bit, and that's great. Having the support of a nation behind you as a player, that's got to be such a great feeling. But the problem with that is you start to believe your own hype when you start seeing your face everywhere on all levels of social media. Come on, I mean, that's got to get to your head somewhere. So I think they really need to be brought back down to earth, and 4 games lost on the trot probably did it. But it's funny you talk about those 1%ers. that's what Penrith are known for, right? They are the 1% team. They master that on the field. And funnily enough, the Warriors managed to turn it around on them, and they made some characteristic errors, and the Warriors took advantage. The last time I think Isaiah Yeo got sin bin was, 2017, I think they were saying, on the commentary.
9 years, yeah.
Yeah. So for things like that to happen, I mean, yeah, part of it's Penrith, but part of it's also us as well. So, maybe we did need to be brought back down to earth with those 4 games lost on the trot, and now is the time that we've turned it around for the better.
For the better, yes. So like that, I guess mixed emotions coming into the showpiece. Actually, what is now clearly the showpiece of midway of the season, outside of Origin, obviously, but Magic Round back in Brizzy. Warriors getting that Sunday slot, which I think you can pretty much stake a claim that will continue to be the slot. Jed can kind of probably confirm this, but the crowd was absolutely buzzing from what we could see. The crowd was nuts, incredible. I'm just translating what Jed's telling us right now, guys. I mean, So the key thing really is that we always know we're going to get the support in Brisbane, and when we're playing the Panthers, I know we all moan about the fact, we've got the Panthers in Magic Round, so what's the point of going to Magic Round? But the reality is, everyone in the stadium, except for the Panthers fans, so every other team, wants us to get it over. And then also, we just had a massive following. You could see it, you could hear it as well. So, that was needed. Yeah, that's the talk of the town, how good the Wars fans were as well. So, so mixed emotions. I put a post to pray to the gods just to not get embarrassed, because I was really, really feeling for it as well. So, but yeah, come kick off. So look, tonight we're just going to quickly go through the 80 minutes, reminiscing how we ran the Sharks comeback game as well. We're just going to talk through the quarters as well. So, because I think the game had a lot of ebbs and flows. There's a massive storyline throughout, and it was just a beautiful, at times gut-wrenching, at times exhilarating 80 minutes of football. So, I guess most of us fans knew, hey, look, we might be down on experience, down on calibre in comparison to our rivals, but let's just start well. Let's keep ourselves in the game, and hopefully just get through the first 10 to 20 minutes of the game. Tuipuki steps up and kicks it dead. I'm sitting there going, what the fuck? So we didn't start well, all right, and then within a minute and a half, Dylan Edwards kind of cruises over with a little bit of a double second man play as well. So what were you thinking, Saucy, when we were down very, very early?
Pretty much the same thing as the Roosters. Like, here we go again. It's a bit of deja vu, unfortunately. Really unlucky for Tane, but hey, he learnt from his mistake with that kickoff. It can happen to the best players in the game. We've seen it before, but it's just unfortunate the very first kick of the game goes sailing out. But hey, on the bright side, he's got a boot, which he would need to use later on in the game. But yeah, that try that Dylan Edwards scored, picked us apart. They made it look too easy. You think, here we go. But then after that, the Warriors start to get into the grind of the game. I don't think the next points were scored until the 21st minute, when they put on a slick play. Beautiful cutout pass from Charnze, of all people, to show that he can do it all, to put Montoya in the corner. But then, of course, you talk about the ebbs and flows. It looked like another injury that we had, with Montoya doing his elbow or his shoulder and having to come off the field after we already had Egan and Jackson Ford take some time off, with Wade Egan gone for the game. And honestly, I thought at that point in time when Wade Egan left the field and we knew he was done for the day, I thought it was over for us a little bit. I honestly
Yeah. I mean, it looks sick. He looks sick. You could tell, with his history as well, that pretty much you knew he wasn't going to come back. And then you're thinking, oh, we're carrying Roche, who, no disrespect, had been in the team for cover, really, hadn't got a lot of minutes, hadn't been that effective, but still a young guy. So the fact that he had to go in and play the rest of the game, I thought, oh, this could be, we could be in for a long afternoon. We lose Jackson Ford too. So pretty early on, we got troops. And then, what it was, great try in the corner by Marcelo. And what I first thought was an elbow, it was a little head knock. So
a head knock, okay.
Yeah, it got called for HIA to come off. So, you're thinking, this could be an afternoon. We are holding our own, so it was good to come back as well. But then we get to that second quarter of the half as well, second quarter of the game, I should say, and it's a real tussle. If anything, I thought we had some ascendancy based on the fact that the Panthers just continue to let us back in. The amount of errors they were making just meant that we were popping up. But I didn't think we could quite get our attack going in that sort of back end of the first half.
Yeah, look,
we had plenty of options.
We were obviously missing the polish, right? We were getting into the good areas of the field, but we were panicking. It was really clunky. I think there was one point in time where Leotawa had the ball in his hands in the fifth and he had to put a grubber kick in. And you're thinking, is this where we lose the game when it comes to the red zone plays?
Yeah.
Really clunky. I think they're just trying to find their way. And, almost against the run of play, Jerome Luai goes through the line. And I think Ken Laban was guilty of sort of, missing his assignment and letting him crab across the field. And then they tore us up. He puts a pass on to Scotty Sorensen, who puts it back on to Luai, and they score to make it a 10-6 game at that time? 10-4 game at that time. So that was pretty tough. That was a bit of a backbreaker, that try. It was a long range against the run of play after the Warriors had gotten to the grind, so that one hurt. Yeah.
And you go back to that point, we had a number of sets where we just couldn't find a fifth play option as well, and one in particular really grinded goats, bringing grinded goats back. This was, and look, all forgiven now, but we had stripped them for numbers on the right, our right. Tamati puts in a kick where it really should have gone through their hands, and it turns into a 7-tackle set.
7-tackle set, yep.
And you're just like, argh. But hey, look, what to expect. The reps, the polish wasn't quite there as well. But it was, apart from that try, which scared me a little bit that it could break out that easy. I just thought we were holding our own and we were punching above our weight. And to know that we could get to halftime in a respectable scoreline, gave us some hope, really. Like, we definitely would have gone into the sheds thinking, we'll take that. Someone offered that to us at halftime, we would have taken it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and we did. And then it really helped after halftime with the sin bin of Isaiah Yeo on the 42nd minute. And the Warriors made them pay. It could have been very easy for the Warriors to not take advantage of the opportunity, but they took advantage of it straight away, literally a minute after, with Leotawa scoring his first meat pie in the top grade on one leg. A hip and a hop, they don't stop. Leotawa scores his first try, and it was great to see the reaction from him too. You could see how much it meant to him scoring that try, and you could see how happy the rest of the team were for him. Great little effort there. Just with the sin bin. Now, maybe it's just me, but Atkins, we had Atkins, he wasn't going to give it. He got a call. And for me, I don't get tell Spoonie, we're not putting our tin hats on, but like that is just the kind of psyche. It's Isaiah Yeo. Isaiah Yeo wouldn't do something like that, And it's like, no, he leant in and he put a shoulder to slow the game down. That's a fucking bin, mate.
So, calm heads prevailed. The bunker, maybe the touchies got in his ear, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But it was just also massive heads up, energy, effort play, for a chance to kind of tap and go, right? So, that was crucial for a team that of our calibre, trying to build some attack. I think all Warriors fans knew we weren't going to score 40 points that day. Combination of our attack and their defence. But to get an opportunity, and I think also not only just get an opportunity to go down to the end of one less men, but not to quiche it as well. How many teams really fuck that up, right? They try to overplay their hand, they try to spin it wide without earning the right. But as you touched on, you just played some pretty nice direct shape, not too far wide. And how good was it to see sort of centres busting through gaps?
With Pompey scoring the next try in the 48th minute, off a really beautiful pass from Tamari Martin on the left-hand side of the field. That's what really got me humming. Seeing a play and a try scored on the left-hand side of the field for the Warriors, almost unheard of, which is not a good thing, but a great pass, again, to Tamari Martin with the try assist, and Pompey getting the chocolates with a try. Warriors take advantage of the one man down, that 10-minute sin bin. But you're right, I thought they didn't overplay their hand. They played it up the middle and waited for the opportunities to arise. Whereas these days you see a lot of teams, as soon as the team's one man down, they try and spread it wide without earning the right. So the Warriors played it really smart to make sure they did some damage up the middle and earned the right to push it wider, with Pompey scoring. So that was awesome to see.
Absolutely. Yo comes back, and then Penrith, that middle 20, or in the latter part of that sort of period when he comes back on, they start to get into Penrith shape, right? They start to control the game. They start to put pressure on us as well, and unfortunately, we cracked. So Yo, as he comes back in, scores a pretty soft try, but I think we just ran out of numbers, right? And we got our spacing all wrong. But that put the marker back on and put Penrith back ahead as well. They go ahead 16-14 at a crucial time where I thought, okay, this could get interesting. We've had, we've played a lot of football early on. The fact that we've had to have players coming in pretty quickly. Lost a man on the interchange bench as well. I just wondered, how we would respond as well. But what was quite good to hear and to see is that we were able to have some fresh legs come back. So I think we had guys like Bunty and Adam come back for their second stint as well. So there was a bit of a luxury that they hadn't been, Adam had been playing a lot of big minutes early on the game in previous weeks as well. The fact that he actually was able to come back in a bit later. But I was just, it was really in the balance and it was going sort of toe for toe. But I did think that they started to impose their dominance on us, meaning that, they were doing what Panthers do, right? They were trapping us inside the 20 and making us kick from deep.
Yeah, and it was starting to scare me after that try that Yo scored because it was so easy. I mean, it was well worked. It was crispy play.
Crispy.
And then after that, the Panthers started to poke some holes through our defence, but to our credit, we actually scrambled. I think I remember Brian Toto breaking a couple of tackles here and there and getting a few runs down the field. Their back five really stumped up, I thought, in that third quarter and made the job really easy for their forwards. And you've said this in past seasons gone by, their buds, how much work they do to make it easier for their forwards just to concentrate on defence. By cutting the ball up and peeling off at massive yardage and taking that workload off the forwards. But funnily enough, I thought, throughout the course of that game, the Warriors were playing pretty much the same way. Their back five was doing a lot of work. And funnily enough, going into that last quarter, leaving our big guys like Adam and like Bunty fresh for defence. And I think we might have said this before, Bunty only got 18 run metres for the game, but he had 30 tackles, 0 misses, which is exactly what you need in the back end of a game. Maybe Adam didn't have as many run meters as you would expect from him, but same thing. He had energy to defend when the time was needed, and to give us enough stamina to, attack. And funnily enough, obtain scores.
Yeah, I think just before that you had Tongue will go over, right? And that was that kind of that was that period where they just got on top of us, they just trapped us a bit, and they started to flex that kind of Panthers style of game as well. But to your credit, we didn't drop our heads. The game was again in the balance. I think, let's be honest, Warriors family, Warriors whānau, that Panthers made mistakes and we got crucial kind of penalties at times where they just relieved pressure for us as well. And I think it was a big call. One big call. Again, hip drop, James Fisher-Harris. I don't think there was any malice in that as well, but I'd seen hip drops like that in the last 2 weeks get put to the bin as well. So, question, Papa Le'i, he wasn't there yet. Yeah, big call from Jed who was there. Atkins wasn't going to give the penalty, and then it turned into a penalty on report as well. To be fair, I didn't think it was as severe as Papa Le'i's one, in the Raiders game, but that was quite nasty. But again, gave us an opportunity, and as you just said, Mighty Mouse, Danger Mouse, Tuopiki with the wrap, got us back into the game 20-all with a massive kick. So did I don't know if you watched the screen. I looked away. I couldn't look as well. I was backing him in, but apparently, and as Webby had said, the young man has had form this year of taking clutch goal kicks like that as well to win games too.
Just about to mention that, He's he eats kicks like that for breakfast. Apparently in the New South Wales Cup. I stayed with my eyes glued to the TV set because I was like, fucking just get over. And it looked like it was going to swing out of the right hand upright, and then it swung back in between the posts. Great. Can't forget it grazed the post as well. So that's how tight the margins were. Could have gone either way. And that kick wins us the game pretty much at the end of it. But Panthers still had a chance going into the last minute, right?
So we had 6 minutes of play left. 8 minutes of play, 7.5 minutes of play. It's pretty tight. We know that we just needed to kind of defend our line, get out, kick the ball long, and get noted throughout the game to Mighty's long kicking. Definitely, and found territory as well, which is great. But a ball popped up to Brian To'o. And what does Brian To'o do, Isaac?
He just does what he does, right?
To be fair, I thought we contained him all game.
Yeah, we did.
And his bollocking kind of tackle bursting runs, but he just got between two, didn't he?
All it takes is one run, though, from him. You can bowl him up all game, and then it takes one run to split things wide open. He was just waiting on it, right? It was not a matter of if, it was a matter of when for Brian To'o. That's just the kind of play he is.
Yeah. The team were gassed, and Ali on that dodgy leg, which has ruled him out. So he busts through in the backfield as well. The main man, TMM, tidies him up nicely. Not before he gets a ball out wide, and then you're thinking they've got numbers. They've got absolute numbers. And but there was a mention of last season's Penrith Warriors game at Magic Round being noted for the biggest hits last season as well. Hadn't seen many big hits up until the absolute stomach tuner from the POMP, who absolutely laid out Jack Cole. To be fair, I'll give the Warriors credit. They made Jack Cole's life a living nightmare, I think, all day. We sent plenty of traffic his way, but then there was, I guess, moments of madness or kind of confusion going on, because first and foremost, I think everyone in Rugby League thought Jack Cole's knocked that on because he's just got smashed. The ball's gone forward, and he's hit it twice as well. Great tackle from Pompey. But yeah, did you track what happened after that? Because there's a lot of confusion around kind of why the penalty was blown.
Yeah, I guess it was a bit tough because the cameraman was just so enamored with Cole writhing around in pain and needing an amber. But yeah, I think there was an attempt at a strip at some point after that. Again, I couldn't see because too busy laughing my head off about Cole getting smacked over for 6. And then just great camera work as well to go right back onto him when he's just, chucking up his lollies as well. Just a fantastic shot. But
And our crowd absolutely could hear it, just going, oh.
what did that look like on the big screen?
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Cooper Cronk also kind of, moaned about it. But I think it was technically a strip, but I think everyone thought it was a dead ball. And I think Charnze was just trying to get the ball back because we naturally thought it was our ball. So, a little bit of confusion.
Yeah, just because
It was
there
an
was 2 players
absolute mess.
hovering around the player instead of actually one person making an attempt to strip him, which was Charnze, which was, again, not contentious in the greater scheme of things, but I thought that was a bit strange. But that led
Absolute
into
mess.
the penalty, right?
The penalty. Oh, yeah. Fans, Jed saying the fans blew up deluxe. You could hear through the TV as well. Obviously, you punters at a Magic Round would have just felt the vibe. But then, a not so confident Dylan Walker steps up. Dylan Edwards, you could tell this is unfamiliar territory. Yeah, the 45,000 people there.
Yeah, it's quite the coincidence that the bulk of the Warriors fans, from what I could see, were sitting right in front of Dylan Edwards, giving him choice viewing of what he needs to look at to get the penalty kick over. But there was more calamity to come after he skews it right.
So from what I hear, Tamaiti catches the ball on the full as well. The touch judges kind of called the ball dead, I think, or they waved their flags down indicating the ball is out of play. Atkins calls play on. The bros are hugging in the background, from what I hear. That's from Moneta's view. And then there's guys screaming at each other to get it to play on. So, and then no one can hear anyone because everyone's yelling.
Yep. Moneta's seen the game on numerous occasions because he's down with COVID, but he does say that basically half the team were celebrating the game being won, and the other half of the team was telling him to run the ball out because the game's not over, and then cooler heads prevailed, and it was play on for the next few minutes until the final whistle was blown.
Yeah.
But I was even confused at that point in time. I was like, is that out? Is that a 20-meter dropout with the penalty? What exactly is going on here?
Dropout.
Yeah, did he have his foot out? 1 foot out?
No.
So he was
it's a
fully
live
in the
ball.
field of play, and he just stood there. Pretty much.
Get out of there! So, look, I mean, a little bit extra to add to what had been either one of the top 4 or 5 games I've watched of a Warriors game as well. An absolute scenes after the game, crowd going crazy. Dallin's 200th, Huckers hang everywhere. Just a lot of love by the looks of it. A lot of love.
Mm-hmm. I dub it the miracle at Magic Round. I mean, that's going to go in the pantheon of great Warriors games, right? And we are so blessed to be able to see games like that after we had a game last year at Shark Park where we hunted them down. So it goes to say that this Warriors team is probably the most resilient team we've ever had, especially in such trying conditions, well up against the reigning premiers, Miracle Magic Round. It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, I think it also does a lot for those young guys, right?
100%. Yeah.
So just to kind of touch on, and the old fellas as well, who need to come back and bring the standard. But and just to touch on some of the contributions, obviously well documented. Tain Tuopiki, was safe as houses at the back. was dynamo in the middle as well, and had the polish right on the edge, plus fantastic goal kicking. So was absolute standout. You look across the board. Ali on one leg, was still hard to deal with as well, and crossed over. Pompey came up with some big plays when needed. You had Dylan Walker, which was fantastic. What about a half pairing? Who would have thought that Tamaiti and Charnze get the job done?
If I could touch on the Borg brothers, those were monster games from the Borg brothers. I think that's what we've always envisioned of those two. I mean, there was inklings of it last year when they first got the moniker of Borg brothers, but they just didn't manage to get on the field at the right time together. That's the sort of game that we can see from them, or that we hoped for from them moving forward. Monster games. I mean, there was a career games, right? Jazz Tavanga was just an absolute lionheart. How many runs did he have? I think it was upwards of 21 runs. Dylan Walker was pretty close as well, and it took veterans like that to really put the game on their shoulders and lead from the front.
I think for me, Jazz was the line speed when on their tackle 1-2. The Panthers love to get out. They love to get their back five rolling, especially when we're kind of a little bit ragged. And the amount of times he got up fast and made one-on-one tackles and really chopped them down, just something we haven't had since he's been out as well. And what I love about Jazz, and on the back of that as well, once he gets running like that, and then we get some ascendancy in the middle, he's hard to deal with in the middle. You would have seen the classic hit and spin move, got him poked his nose through, those sorts of things. I mean, that's Jazz at his best as well. And it's plays like that, and it's days like that where you go, you got to keep that guy in the club, because he is, for me, he's like the heart and soul.
Yeah.
Ooh. 21 and 24 runs, Jazz and Dylan Walker. That's fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic.
And that kind of, I don't want to say it overshadows, because he's been a massive part of the team, especially during these lean weeks. But Mitch Barnett as well.
Oh.
His standards don't drop. If anything, as the weeks go by, his standard goes up and up and up. And if he hasn't played his way into an Origin jersey, I don't know what the hell he has to do to wear an Origin jersey.
The thing for me as well is having him on the edge, you pretty much got him out for 80 minutes. So he's just got a big engine. He doesn't have to do as much work in the middle, but he can bring the aggression when we need it as well. So, just been, probably our best player, I think, most consistent player all season. Touched on Jackie Laban having to play a few more minutes this week. And then obviously the Papa, right? The Papa Roach, who probably for me was, you think about contributions needed, guys to play over and above their experience level and their expectation, I guess, because there's been weeks where he's just literally had to ride just in case someone goes down. Not only was he calm, assured, and had strong defence, but he brought a slightly different running element as well, a more direct running element too, which, and picked his time. So, testament actually to what they're doing in the reserve grade team, right? To have these blokes ready to step in.
I mean, and if you put yourself in Roach's position as well, on the bench, seeing Wade Egan go off the way that he did, he would have felt like Jack Cole. He would have probably felt his guts drop, realizing that he'd have to play the whole game. But to his credit, he stepped up, and he showed what he's all about. And a lot of people are on the bandwagon for him to get more game time, if not start this week. He's thrown himself into the mix. That's just how good he played. He didn't put a foot wrong. He had a couple of sniping runs here and there. I thought he looked really good. Just couldn't tell much about him in the previous weeks because he had all of 7 minutes.
In that game. Yeah. So that's look, obviously that's a wrap on as Isaac said, one of the best games I've ever had. Maybe in the pantheon of performances. Probably a shot to and a positive shot to some of the incumbents, some of the guys out that might need to come back in. That there's some competition for spots as well. But more so some positive enthusiasm that they had the next man up mentality that really came true. So, and I for one know that was exactly what us fucking diehard Warriors fans needed. We always have faith and we'll back our team no matter what, but it was a tough last week, I must admit. It was hard to get up, but we were up, baby. We are up.
Yep. All right. Well, critical turning point. We can call it, because we're swooping into the next game, which is against the Dolphins before we hit the bye, and arguably it couldn't be timed any better with the injuries that we've got. But we've got one more hurdle, and that's the Dolphins. Do we take them out this week?
Yeah, we do. And I think it would be reasonably tight affair, but they're going to have to come down to our house as well, and it'll be fucking cold. So we'll get the Dolphins.
Down at our funny. Dolphins don't swim in the Arctic. That's all right.
So, without the boys tonight, a jet in our ear, leading us, get us back on track. But we had the Ball brothers, almost Ball brothers. We had Tamari and Charnze standing in. Just wanted to say a massive thanks to Saucy coming back as well. And to Jed and to Moneta, Jed was here but not really here, and Moneta couldn't make it. But I'm Daniel Wharakuta. That is Warriors Anonymous for this week, and customary, let's go around with the up the wires and go the fucking Warriors.
Go the Warriors.
La cucaracha, ya no puede caminar.